Discipline has a reputation. It sounds rigid, severe, unforgiving. When most people hear the word discipline, they imagine force. Wake up earlier, push harder, do more, stop being weak. For some, that voice works temporarily. For others, it creates resistance. But almost everyone has experienced the same cycle: intensity, overcorrection, exhaustion, reset, and then repeat. Because harsh discipline burns hot, and what burns hot eventually burns out. There is another form of discipline. It is quieter. It does not shout. It does not insult. It does not threaten. It guides. Discipline without harshness is structured, not punishing. It holds direction without attacking the self. And that shift changes everything. Harsh discipline is usually ego-based. It says, if you don't do this, you're failing. If you don't improve, you're behind. If you don't push harder, you're not enough. It weaponizes comparison. It uses shame as fuel, and shame can generate action. But it also erodes trust. If your inner voice constantly attacks you, you will eventually resist it. The mind will avoid the very things associated with punishment. That avoidance weakens consistency. Discipline without harshness sounds different. It says, this matters. We're continuing, even if it's slow, even if it's imperfect. There is firmness, but no hostility. There is direction, but no contempt. You are not at war with yourself. You are aligned with yourself. Alignment builds endurance. Think about how you respond to different tones. If someone constantly criticizes you harshly, even if they're technically right, you eventually withdraw. But if someone speaks firmly yet respectfully, you listen. Your nervous system stays regulated. Your attention stays open. The same applies internally. If your inner voice is constantly aggressive, your system tightens. If it's steady and clear, your system cooperates. Harsh discipline creates fear of failure. You hesitate to start because you don't want to be attacked. You avoid trying because imperfection triggers shame. That slows growth. Discipline without harshness removes fear from the equation. Failure becomes information. Adjustment becomes normal. You keep moving because movement isn't tied to self-judgment. That stability increases momentum. Let's make this practical. You want to build something. Harsh discipline says, no excuses. Work longer. Cut everything else. If you slip, you're weak. You may comply for a while, but the internal pressure builds. Eventually, you rebel against yourself. Discipline without harshness says, block the time. Stay consistent. Adjust when needed. Return tomorrow. There is firmness in returning, but no emotional explosion if one day falters. That flexibility protects long-term progress. There's a misconception that kindness reduces productivity, but harshness doesn't equal effectiveness. Often it creates internal conflict. You push yourself so hard that you associate your goal with stress. Then your mind begins to resist the goal itself. Discipline without harshness builds positive association. You show up steadily. You don't punish yourself for small missteps. You correct gently but clearly. That pattern strengthens consistency. Consistency builds confidence. Confidence builds energy. This matters deeply in fitness, work, creative projects, and financial rebuilding. If you approach every effort as a moral test, you exhaust yourself. Not every day needs to be heroic. Some days just need to be completed. Discipline without harshness understands that forward motion is better than emotional drama. You don't need to feel intense to move. You need to show up. Showing up consistently builds more than emotional spikes ever will. Harsh discipline often disguises insecurity. It tries to outrun doubt through force. But force against yourself fractures stability. Discipline without harshness builds trust. You begin to believe, if I slip, I won't attack myself. If I adjust, I won't shame myself. If I'm tired, I can recalibrate. That trust increases willingness to try, and willingness fuels growth. Season 8 is about grounded power. Grounded power doesn't require internal violence. It requires structure. Structure without cruelty. Direction without degradation. Firmness without self-hatred. That combination is rare. But when you practice it, something changes. You stop fearing your own standards. You stop dreading your own goals. You stop associating ambition with punishment. Instead, ambition becomes movement. Clean, steady, sustainable. Notice how you speak to yourself when you fall short. Is it harsh? Is it absolute? Is it dramatic? Or is it corrective? Harsh, I always mess this up. Corrective, that didn't work. Adjust. Harsh, I'm so behind. Corrective, I need a better plan. The content may be similar. The tone changes everything. Tone shapes energy. Energy shapes consistency. Consistency shapes outcome. There is also something powerful about non-reactive discipline. When something doesn't go as planned, you don't spiral. You simply reset. Resetting is strength. It's not flashy. It's not dramatic. It's mature. Maturity sustains momentum. Immature discipline spikes and crashes. Mature discipline builds slowly and steadily. Discipline without harshness also allows joy. When you're not attacking yourself, the process becomes lighter. You can appreciate progress. You can acknowledge effort. You can celebrate small wins. Those small wins reinforce behavior. Harsh discipline rarely celebrates. It focuses only on what's missing. That creates a sense of perpetual inadequacy. And perpetual inadequacy drains energy. There is something deeply stabilizing about self-respect. When you discipline yourself respectfully, you feel stronger. You don't feel beaten into action. You feel aligned with it. That alignment increases follow-through because you are not resisting your own voice. You trust it, and trust reduces internal friction. Less friction equals more available energy. Imagine building for years with steady structure and zero internal hostility. Imagine correcting yourself without cruelty. Imagine moving forward without emotional self-punishment. That kind of discipline compounds, not because it's intense, because it's sustainable. Sustainability wins. You don't need to yell at yourself. You don't need to threaten yourself. You don't need to shame yourself into motion. You can choose firmness without violence. You can choose structure without rigidity. You can choose discipline without harshness. That is grounded power in motion, and grounded power endures. If this episode shifted how you think about self-discipline, stay with the season. Season 8 is about building strength without self-attack. And if you know someone stuck in cycles of push and crash, send this to them. Sometimes strength isn't louder. It's steadier. We continue in episode 12.